What's up, everyone? Glad you're here because today we're going through stories that are too good not to share. You'll laugh, you'll shake your head, maybe even think, yep, that's totally me. That's the fun part, we're all in this together. So hit subscribe, jump into the comments, and let's talk about these wild stories as a community. Sorry for the long story. I just feel so detached right now. My 25F fiancé Asher, 29 million, and I have been together for a little less than 7 years, and we got engaged about 6 months ago. We've been together for my entire adult life, and while he's not perfect, he has always loved me and treated me not just with respect, but with reverence like he worships me. People have commented on our relationship and said that it's so obvious how much he loves me. I've never doubted Asher's devotion. When our relationship was rocky pre-engagement, I was having mental health issues that spilled into our relationship. He's the one who brought me to therapy for 2 years and pulled us back together even though I was an absolute nightmare. We've been together through grief and loss, graduations, etc., and he has always had my back, even when I myself have felt hopeless. He's the best cheerleader I could ever imagine. Yesterday, Thursday, I got a message from a woman, Jay, who claimed she met Asher on Tinder and went out with him 4 times over the last 2 weeks before realizing he's not single. When I first saw the message, I almost ignored it. That's how certain I was that this was impossible, since Asher is not the type of guy whom I'd ever expect to cheat. He's been cheated on himself, not by me, and he views sex as even more sacred than I do. He's told me many times that he's so thrilled that we have only ever had sex with each other, although he did once lie to me about a specific sex act, saying that he's only ever done it with me, but I found out years later that he'd done it with one other woman. He claimed he thought I knew, but I figured it was in the past and that he's mine now, and he has never made me think that he'd ever look at another woman. He doesn't even have many female friends, because he said he wanted to be respectful to me, even though I've told him thousands of times that I trust him and that I don't care about the gender of his friends. JS messages included texts from a contact saved under a nickname Asher used as a small child. She claimed he told her that he was looking for casual sex, and she showed me memes that he sent her romantic text messages, including one with an unusual typo that Asher's phone sometimes makes, and a picture of them sitting together and sharing a dessert at the restaurant, which she said was taken by a waiter. She also sent me a voicemail that Asher left her on Monday saying that he deleted the app, didn't specify what app, but it was probably Tinder. I later called Jay on the phone, and she said they didn't have any sexual contact whatsoever, but that she did go on 4 dates with Asher and felt that I needed to know. After I saw the messages, I called Asher to ask him straight up if he was dating other women. Again, I couldn't fathom that it was true, so it didn't occur to me to keep my cards in reserve, so to speak. Asher seemed flabbergasted and denied it, but I was shaken and told him he needed to come over and let me look at his phone. We've always known each other's passwords, so I never had reason before to snoop. He came over immediately and gave me his phone. I found no records of any messages or calls between Asher and JS number. He could have deleted those easily though, but the dozens of memes that I saw in JS photos matched Asher's camera roll. When I asked Asher to explain the photo with the woman, he said that Jay was the wife of a prospective client. Asher said the husband took the picture and that he was annoyed at the guy, since the husband was supposed to be there for dinner, but only showed up at the very end of the meeting for dessert. He said he thought it was weird that they asked for a picture with him at a business meeting. He couldn't explain the voicemail, and he admitted that the evidence looked absolutely terrible. There are a few things that are confusing. Weeks ago, before I heard from Jay, Asher told me that he would be meeting a couple who seemed like they wanted to be his clients. He had told me in advance about the 2 meetings and mentioned that he was frustrated the first time when the husband didn't show up until dessert, since he felt uncomfortable sitting with another woman because he only ever wanted to go out with me. I thought nothing of it and told him not to worry, that I trusted him, and that I was proud of him for working so hard. He also told me again on Monday night when the husband didn't show up to the lunch meeting, and he said that he was frustrated because it looked like the clients weren't interested after all. But despite admitting to 2 of the meetings, he flat out denied JS claims that they'd met 2 additional times. My family looked at everything Jay sent me since I just couldn't believe it, and they didn't understand either. My father said that before yesterday, he'd have bet every penny in his bank account that of all people, Asher would be the last man he knows who would do this. My parents sat with me and Asher while he tried to rationalize all the different pieces of the puzzle. We were all essentially begging him for another possible explanation. Asher told us that the date of the picture, I think it was last Thursday, the husband was the one who took the picture of him and Jay, not the waiter like Jay claimed. He said he couldn't remember everything that happened, that he was devoted to me and my family, that he'd never be unfaithful to me, and that he was horrified by but understand of the suspicion. We were all in disbelief. Again, none of us ever thought Asher was capable of this. So my family kept asking him to dispute any of the individual pieces of evidence, even going as far as to suggest that JS messages might be part of a scam. Asher claimed that he'd only communicated with Jay in person and that both meetings were arranged via texts with her husband. He claimed that he didn't send Jay memes, but he might have sent them to her husband. He said that the photo of them having dessert was taken by JS' husband, who joined them at the end of the first meeting. He claimed that even before he met me, he'd never even used Tinder, and he showed us proof that he'd never downloaded the app. The App Store didn't say reinstall, only install. He insisted that the use of his childhood nickname could be a fluke, or that maybe he'd mentioned it in passing. He said that the huge dessert was ordered by Jay to share with her husband, and that he'd ordered a small ice cream for himself. We all listened to Asher's excuses. Again, this was so unexpected that even though the evidence was right in front of us, it was unbelievable. My dad sent the voicemail to a tech-savvy friend of his who analyzed it and said that it didn't appear to have been tampered with. We all looked into JS' credibility. There were some inconsistencies there, but nothing unexplainable. And this morning, on a long shot, my father spent 4 hours driving to the restaurant to beg them to show him the security tape, which would hopefully show that JS' husband did in fact take the picture of Asher and Jay. The video showed Asher and Jay entering the restaurant together. It showed a waiter stop to take a photo of them and their dessert, and Asher was shown eating the dessert even though he said he'd gotten his own. It showed that there was no husband who showed up at the end of the meeting, and it showed Asher and Jay leaving together. I still can't make sense of this since it's so out of character. Asher is still insisting that Jay wasn't a date, that they met through work and not Tinder, and that he'd forgotten that he canceled his ice cream order and shared the dessert that Jay ordered. He said he lied about JS, non-existent, husband because he felt nervous after being cornered by my family, but he's certain that he'd never do this to me and that he loathes cheaters and always has. He sobbed and repeated the sweet things he's always told me daily, that I'm the only person he's ever loved, that he wants to spend the rest of his life with me, that he's more than happy with our sex life, and that he has only ever wanted me to be happy. And maybe I'm an idiot, but I do believe that he loves me. I begged him to confess so we could work through this, but he said, I can't confess to something I know I didn't do. I told him that I still want a future with him, but that I believe that he's lying about the business meetings. I still can't understand how this is real, and I don't fully believe that this happened. Part of me still believes that this all really was a misunderstanding, since the man I know just isn't like this. I put all my faith into Asher, and I can't envision life without him. He's my best friend, and I've never shared such intimacy, physical nor emotional, with anyone else. I still see him as the kind and loving and dedicated person I've known for years. I can't even begin to express how lonely I feel, and I shared that thought with him, that it's so isolating to have my main confidant be the person who makes me need one. He said he feels the same way and that he can't believe this is happening to us. For now, I've decided to proceed with the relationship. I've told Asher that I know that he cheated, but since it can't actually be proven, I'll continue giving him the benefit of the doubt and wishing I'd never seen this. I told him that sometimes people make mistakes. His reply was, cheating isn't a mistake and I didn't cheat, and that given our history, I want to rebuild our relationship. I asked him if he wants an open relationship. He said absolutely not. He said that after all of this, he'd tell me if he'd cheated, but he didn't, and he hopes one day I'll believe him. We agreed to postpone wedding planning for at least a few weeks and try to heal. I am not yet ready to let go of the years of companionship we've shared. I keep thinking that I wish Jay had never let me know what happened, but I also appreciate her gesture of sisterhood and truly hope that life is only kind to her in the future, since I was blissfully ignorant to the situation. I wish I could make Asher confess, because his denial is confusing the hell out of me. I wish I had another source of the feelings I get when I cuddle with Asher, because I've never felt safer than when he hugs me. I wish I could pretend this never happened, or that he'd tell me why I'm not enough, or that I was pretty slash thin slash smart slash socially savvy slash good enough to know how to find love like this without starting again from scratch. I wish I had a better understanding of reality in general, since I'm confused and overwhelmed in most situations, because I'm not neurotypical and Asher was the one certainty in my life before this happened. Most of all, I wish I could go back and ignore JS message request, or that Asher hadn't done this to begin with. TLDR, fiancé told me in advance about business meetings, but the woman he met with reached out to tell me they were actually dates. My family found photographic evidence of his dishonesty, but fiancé still won't admit that the meetings were dates. I can't come to terms with any of this and don't know how to move forward. Story 2, I'm not sure if I want to divorce my wife over this, but I am at least going to separate for a while. I called her parents and told them that she would be staying with them for a while and that I was bringing her stuff. I didn't explain exactly what's going on, but they know that it's bad and that they daughter fucked up. Her mother begged me not to do anything rash. I just told her that she needed to talk to her daughter. Amy has returned the guy's money and swears she never intended to take him up on his offer. She says she knows it was wrong not to tell me what she was doing and gaslighting me and going behind my back. She wants to make it right. She against suggested therapy, and I said I was going to do that, but it needed to be separately. She cried and said she didn't want to be with anyone else and that she just got caught up in all the attention, but she never would have slept with anyone else. She didn't outright say it, but I know all of this stems a bit from her always envying Mimi. Because though bookish, Mimi has always been thin and very attractive, and another is what I found in her history. Her YouTube and history dating back months are all these videos and websites about female empowerment and loving yourself, expressing yourself as a sexual being. A lot of it seems like she has low self-esteem or something, which I never really thought she did. The other stuff just seems like encouragement to cheat. I told her I was going to get tested and she started screaming, saying she didn't have sex with anyone. I pointed out that she technically had sex with Mimi and she just started sobbing. I don't know why, but the Mimi thing doesn't bother me. It's they lying, the deception, and all that about it. She's with her parents now but has been texting me constantly. I've ignored her. I've also ignored Mimi, who has also been texting me. However, when I got home today, Buff Doug was at my house with sandwiches asking to talk. I am mad at Buff Doug but not furious. He's always seemed like an honest, straightforward guy. We sat down and he apologized for not confirming with me that my wife had my permission. He also apologized cause he believes part of this was his fault. I asked him what he meant and he told me his story. Apparently when Mimi started camming, it was 2 years ago almost. Mimi didn't tell him she was camming. Unlike Amy, Mimi started camming cause she needed the money. Buff Doug had been hurt at his job and Mimi hadn't been making enough money at hers. Buff Doug said he flipped his shit when he found out, and despite all the excuses, he felt betrayed and wanted to break up with Mimi. They worked through it because he loved Mimi, and if this was what she wanted to do, he would support her, and their relationship got stronger for it. Buff Doug thinks Mimi has told a version of that story that made my wife think it'd eventually be okay. He says he doesn't think that she really emphasized how their relationship almost didn't survive the keeping secrets, and how she had done it behind his back. Buff Doug told me that what Amy did was wrong, and I have every right to want to divorce her over it. He believes what Amy did was way worse than what Mimi did because when he confronted her, she was honest with him. I asked him plain if he ever got off to my wife and he shrugged, and say yeah, but not while he was filming. He did watch the videos later. It made my skin crawl, but I respected his honesty. He told me that he didn't mean to be a part of ruining my relationship and that he hoped that in time it all can be repaired. He says he thinks I should take time and just be away from Amy and see if moving on or living without her is what I really want. He then told me that I need to sit down and lay down a list of demands. He also suggested I get a lawyer involved just in case, so Amy understands this is real. He says he knows I love her and I'm just furious right now and I want retribution. He says he felt emasculated too. He told me not to blame myself. He said I could blame him, Mimi, and my wife, but not to blame myself. He says he believes I can reconcile and that our relationship can be repaired, but only if Amy is willing to admit her wrongs without excuses and understand how bad she betrayed me. He suggested I don't do anything right away and just let her be for a while and see what she does, put the ball in her court. I don't know why, but I guess that made me feel better. I should be pissed at Buff Doug, but I kind of respect him. Though I told him not to show up at my place again unannounced, not until I sort how I feel in my head. He was cool and he shook my hand. He told me Mimi wanted to apologize to me and I told him I wasn't ready for that, but I would talk to him later. This is all like, beyond whatever I thought I'd ever deal with. Like, what am I supposed to do? I know for a fact that I'm going to get counseling, but I'm not sure I'll ever feel right about how Amy went about this. It's not even the camming or any of that. She lied to me, gaslighted me. It's like now I know she's capable of great deception and manipulation, and that's hard to see past right now. And she could just as easily been fucking these dudes. I love this woman. I do, I really do, but I hate this situation. I hate what she's done, this wedge she's put between us. If, and it's a big if I wanted to reconcile, where do I even start? I know I do not want to see her for the foreseeable future. I'm thinking of traveling back home to my parents, COVID be damned. I think I need to spend a few months away to start. Has anyone come back from something like this? Some people have their opinions and I wanted to address them. To start, I know I seem very calm and relaxed about this. Rational even. Even other Doug and Amy's sister, 26F, Clara, are all kind of worried about how calm I seem about this. I assure you I'm anything but calm. But I had serious anger and rage issues in my childhood, and I've been taught to channel that energy into rational thought. No, it isn't easy. Yes, I have had dangerous thoughts. But I have to make choices that get me to where I want to be, and rash outbursts never do that. That's a quote, by the way. I don't remember the doctor's name. Firstly, I don't know what Mimi and Amy did off camera, if anything. I don't feel the same way about Mimi and Amy because I knew the two of them had experimented in their younger days. And back in college, there was a thing between the three of us. So the thought in my head is different. I don't know what they did off camera, but on camera there was very little interacting between the two of them. I don't know how to describe it without being graphic, just they did their things together but separate. No using toys on each other. That's why I used the word with. It's still a violation cause there was no permission and this was hidden from me. Secondly, I believe Buff Doug because of Mimi's reputation and her past. The whole Amy and Mimi with another guy thing came up before we were married. And one of the reasons that wasn't something they ever tried is Mimi was always the one with the boyfriend, and Mimi don't share. I don't know much about it, but back before folks were grown and married, Mimi had wanted to try stuff like that, but never with anyone she was dating. People may change, but I'm basing my opinions on that experience and how Buff Doug is. People aren't as good at lying as you think, and right now, given all the evidence and my read on the people and situation, I'm inclined to believe Buff Doug. There's always the possibility. But as a lot of people have stated, it's about what I can and cannot believe, where my own personal doubts are, who and what I can trust. Right now, no matter how hard I try to get worked up about this and distrust, so far that side of it seems to fit in the believable. Third, Amy deleted some texts and stuff, but her iPhone was on the cloud. And after following some advice from folks the first time I posted, I was able to get back all the deleted text. I was also able to go through her internet history as she deleted some stuff, but her Google tracked everything. Thanks to the internet wizards who walked me through that. I went through the financials and everything with other Doug, and I've gone through Mimi's site. One thing is they wear masks and stuff, but if you know them you can tell. I mean, Mimi has this big obvious tattoo. I also went through the Twitter. I have Amy's phone now, by the way, and have been using it to get more information out of the fan. I originally came to take it for that purpose, but I also wanted her to stop fucking texting me. Fourth, her parents know that she's there cause she was unfaithful. She won't tell them exactly what happened, but I told them a manicured version of it. That she was trading naughty images and FaceTimes with another man. Clara, her sister, knows the full story from Mimi. I thought you guys were all pitchforks and fire. Clara has been insisting that I divorce Amy as well. Calling Amy spoiled and ungrateful. I knew Clara before I knew Amy. Back in school, Clara and I were friends. She introduced me to Amy and Mimi. Amy has always thought Clara was jealous, and I've never agreed, but she's way angrier about this than I am. So I don't know. Clara is also another person. Mimi apparently wanted to do things with her and her boyfriend when they were younger, and has also told me the story recently about how Mimi does not feel the same when it comes to her boyfriends. I also found out that Clara and Amy have known about Mimi camming since it began. Fifth, I have not talked much to Amy. I haven't read her texts. I really haven't listened to her excuses or explanations past that initial time I drove her up there with her stuff. I was up there today to get the phone and to have a long talk with her parents. I told them and Clara if she doesn't give me the phone immediately and stay in her room, I was just going to leave and I wasn't coming back. She was screaming and cry from upstairs, but Clara kept her up there. It sounded like a fight. So no. I really don't know how genuine Amy's regret, remorse, or any of that is. I'm not listening or paying attention. As some other people have pointed out, right now she's probably just distraught she got caught and reacting to the idea that her normal is about to change. I think time apart, time away from me will decide this. She may wake up in a week and feel liberated. This may be just what she needed to go off and be her true self, I dunno. I just don't think listening to her right now will help any. Plus, I don't think I can believe a lot of what she says. Fifth, I've decided to speak to my lawyer on Monday to get the ball rolling. Whether I reconcile or not, I'm going to draw up the papers and get all that in order. I don't know where my head space will be at. Doug thinks we should try to get Mimi's hard drives or something, though I'm computer literate and I was there when we went through the folders. Everything was in a folder under Amy's name and there were no hidden files or anything. Mimi and Buff Doug aren't what I would consider computer savvy, but who the hell knows? Either way. Wrong or right, I'm going with Mimi and Doug being mostly honest about their part in this. Especially now that I've seen the texts about this situation between Mimi and Amy over the time this was going down. I will say Mimi was on the tell me train from the beginning and through the messages was only down with the idea of toys and playing. Threesomes were never brought up, but telling me was brought up a lot, with Amy saying she was going to get to it. Mimi flat out told her that she had kept this from Buff Doug and it almost killed their relationship, and that she didn't think I would be forgiving about it. I'm pissed because Mimi's texts make it very clear that Amy knew dealing with this fan was a no-go and way across the line, and she threatened to tell me if Amy continued. Amy continued, and Mimi got more frantic about it. One text even said if Amy was really thinking of fucking this guy, that she needs to tell me she wants a divorce. Amy maintained that she didn't want anything physical, though I'm disgusted because it seems like she was just using this guy and was pretty proud of it. Anyway, I've got a lot to think about here. But I'm not going to be doing it from my home. I've got to get away from everyone. So I'm going NC with everyone for a while and returning home where my family is and where I can get the emotional support I need. I will only make a decision on Amy after I feel I'm better mentally, and really, it'll come down to whether or not I can move forward with her. I mean, she could be 100% honest. Do everything right and be a good and loyal wife. That may never erase misgivings. I got to know that I can handle that, and if I make the decision right now, I'm like, no, I can't. But I know that's an initial reaction. I also know in the back of my mind and in my heart I don't want to throw away all these years. But I won't stand for this kind of disrespect. But I also don't want to be driven by the idea that someone's getting something over on me. I've been there. It's not a good thing to let drive you.